All right, are you ready?
Sure.
Do you need to take a deep breath?
Do I introduce myself?
I'll lead you into
Okay.
it. Yeah.
So I need to say who I am.
No, you don't have to. The people know exactly who you are.
Yeah,
You don't have to say who you
obviously
are.
I'm famous.
And with that, welcome to the show. My name is Corey Middleton. This is Dorm Diaries at TCU. Right now, currently, I serve as the host or your host. But I have a very special guest with me who serves as one of our RAs on campus. Now you can introduce yourself. Miss Everybody knows me.
Obviously. My name is Amanda Rucker, and I'm the Hayes Hall second floor RA, and this is my second year being an RA.
Oh, okay. So I don't know why I did not know this was your second year. Actually, I did know that. I'm tripping. Except I thought you were in Impact. So that was,
No.
yeah, that's a slip on my part. So very thankful that I get to have this conversation with you. I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago, so I was like, I gotta get you on. But after our first episode with one of our residents over in Foster Hall, shout out to Ryan, by the way, he did a great job. We had a lot of questions about like, what is it like to be an RA? Because there were some people who were like, RAs, do they just like get me in trouble? I'm thinking about becoming an RA, which at this moment in time, that ship might have sailed if you had not like applied and stuff like that. But there's always time for next year, right? Exactly. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, this is perfect timing to get somebody in. I'll talk to you about it. And we made it work. So I'm super excited. I just wanted to start with like, talk to me about your journey. Where are you from? How did you make it to TCU?
Oh my gosh, funny story, guys. I didn't want to go to TCU at all.
Oh.
My mom went here, and I was like, I'm not going to be a copycat. And then,
copy frog.
Yeah, I'm like, I will not do that. And then I talked to my college counselor, and our child development department here, shout out KPICD, is amazing. And I talked to someone from it, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll apply. And I did like early decision so I could like see like the scholarship opportunities. Right. And I got it, and I still was like, I don't know. And it was really when I came and toured that I really loved it. Like I felt the sense of community and all the opportunities that it could have. And that was when I was like, I'm going to come here. And now my mom is like excited. She's so funny. She's like, the library didn't used to be like that. Like that used to be a parking lot. And I'm like, sorry, I didn't know the changes they made.
A true legacy fraud, right?
Yes.
Like that's good. Where were you thinking about going before?
I wanted to leave like out of state. I'm from California, so I thought about going to like Tufts, Vanderbilt. Right. Just out of state.
Okay. Oh, from California, mom went here, and then you ended up here. So
yeah, and it's good. I have family here too, so they were excited.
Thanks, Mom. We are very excited that she's here.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's walk through kind of you say you're your second year RA here. Let's walk through your first year. So you get here.
I actually was a winter hire. So
okay. Yeah. Okay. Then let's talk about that, right? So let's talk about your first semester in general.
Okay. Being an RA.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous because I was coming into a team that was already built, and I was worried that the residents wouldn't like me because their past RA was leaving.
Right.
So it was a little scared, a little awkward, but all my residents were like really amazing, and I still talk to some of them, which is really sweet. And I think they were actually super welcoming and weren't like, ugh, who is this new RA?
Right. Coming into the hall, sometimes it's hard to like jump into a dynamic that's already been set. And setting your own type of culture within it. So
I'd actually never been to Hayes Hall either until I came. So I was like,
where were you at before?
I lived first year in Waits, and then my first semester, sophomore year, I lived in Grand Mark.
Okay. So, let's backtrack to Waits. So you get on campus. What made the RA job kind of a lucrative thing for you? Why did you say, I would like to be an RA?
What was really funny, my RA was from my hometown. So when I actually came to tour, I met up with her, and she was like trying to convince me to come too.
Wait, are you from like a small part, California, or
I'm
like
from Palos Verdes.
Do you
know?
No,
I feel like people
so you
here
might have to
would know.
Yeah.
So it's like the South Bay, like south of LA a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. So she was from the same, or your RA is from the same?
Yes.
Okay.
I like knew her. We both went to the same church, and I was like, oh, she goes to TC. Let me reach out. And then she told me she was an RA in Waits. Wow. And then when I was like picking my rooms, I was like, which floor are you an RA? And so I lived on her floor, which was really exciting.
Amazing. So it sounds like she helped kind of shape your first.
Yeah. Shout out Taylor.
That's great. I mean, I feel like that was a similar story that, I say similar. I talked to another student who had you know who it was? I talked to?
No.
Andre.
Oh.
Andre said, Andre, if y'all do not know, is one of our hall directors, and he talked to me about, as a matter of fact, his episode will be going live here shortly, but he talked about how when he got here, his RA or somebody in his building was from where he is from as well.
That's crazy.
So I was like,
one of my residents went to the same high school as me.
See?
And I didn't know her then. I was like, that's crazy, because we ran in like same circles in high school, and I like didn't know her, which is crazy.
But you know her now?
Yeah, I do.
See? Wow, man. TCU just has a way of connecting people from afar. Like I can understand you being from the same city, if it's like a large city or like in the DFW area in Texas, but coming from California and going to the same church, that's
I know, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Amazing. Okay, so you go through your first year at Waits. Did you enjoy your first year
as my first year at Waits. I wanted to like come back like as an RA there. I loved all my RAs. They like would always stop and talk to me. And I think that's really what made me want to be an RA, because I have such like a service heart, like to help people, and just to see like they like actually cared and like wanted to build that community with me instead of like it being superficial is really great.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I think from being here and just like working here and meeting the RAs who have been here. I've only been here for a little bit over a year, but it is really a special place with our RAs because they're just so involved and like they really do want to know and connect with their residents. So I love hearing those type of stories. So all right, let's get into your stories though, right? So your RA that you were with was from your hometown and helped you connect you to the campus. You decided, hey, I want to be an RA too.
Yeah.
What was the process like going through the interviews and everything else?
At first I was really worried because I never had gone through like round style interviews, like multiple. So I was like, oh, like what if I get cut? Like, will I make it? But my RAs too were like, no, Amanda, like you're going to be so chill. Like you're so good. Like just be yourself. And like, that's exactly what I did.
And then you got picked up.
Yeah.
So you got selected. You've been in Hayes since, correct?
Yes, I've just been in Hayes, and next year will be too. So my whole
look, you're like, oh yeah,
Hayes.
I'm never leaving Hayes. What is it about Hayes, huh?
I don't know.
What's the sauce?
At first, I was a little nervous too because we're an upperclassmen community.
Right.
So I was like, oh, they're not gonna like respond to me because like I'm like the same age as them, and like some of them like are older than me. So I'm like, oh, they won't like me. But I think what I really love about like this community is like they're kind of holding their own and they're not figuring out as much as freshmen. So they are kind of like coming to like talk to me more about just like life in general. Like my conversations with them are like all my like guys, it's just really funny, like talk to me about their relationships or whatever, just like what's going on. And I feel like there's not as much of that like questioning sense, like as a freshman, they're kind of like, this is my place now.
Right. Okay. So you think there's from hearing you talk about it, you think there's a difference between being an RA to first-year students versus your traditional upperclassmen and transfer students?
They don't need, like, I feel like, which is really cool, like, that freshman RAs get to, like, help, like, first years out, like, with all the things that first year brings. But I feel like now they're not really looking to me for, like, that certain guidance, like, in classes or, like, trying to figure out, like, campus life. It's more of just, like, questions in general, I feel like.
So you get away kind of from the, like, the general TCU stuff, and you get a little bit
There's
deeper
more
into
deep like questions. I feel like
life or person development. Okay, no, for sure. My entire time, if you haven't known, like when I was an RA, was always with upperclassmen. Yeah, it was always. Well, I had like maybe one semester where I had upperclassmen and first year, and that one was a little tough, but I think you're right on the nail. Of like when first years come in. It's such a change because you go from, I mean, think about it this way, at least. This is what I always say. Last week, they had to raise their hand to go to the restroom. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like, they had to ask for permission. And now you don't even have to wake up to go to class, though you should always go to class.
Yeah,
right?
never skip.
Yes. But there's so much that like first years need. And I also think that upperclassmen need a lot as well, but it's just a different type of need.
Yes.
Right? So with that, like, or why do you think the RA position is important to like student success in general?
I really think it's about the connection, which ties it all back to our KC model that we always do. But I feel like every RA kind of does it in their own way. But my favorite thing is like just sitting at the desk and like when residents will come up and talk to me for like, I one time like sat there and they were like talking to me for like 3 hours,
Sheesh.
which is amazing. Like I love that. But I just think it's so funny because I would just assume like, I'm like, oh, hey, good day. And like, I
Right.
didn't think that would start like such great conversations. But every time I'm at that desk, there's like certain residents who will like stop and talk to me, even if they're like, oh, I'm going to the gym. And then they'll talk to me for like 20 minutes. And I'm like, do you need to go to the gym? Like, I feel worried I'm taking up their time. But it's really great because I know they're actually taking the time to like, be like, oh, hey, like I need to like talk to you about this, or like I need like advice on this certain situation,
Right.
which is really cool.
For sure. Okay. What about if you were to like? This is tough, so I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Oh,
Sorry.
no.
This is tough. People come all the time and they
Yes.
say, or maybe they have an inclination of what they think an RA does. But walk me through like your day to day. If I was new, didn't know
Okay.
what an RA was, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Hey, Ella.
what is an RA?
That talking to your residents, I think a lot of people sometimes are a little scared, and sometimes I like think about it too much where I'm like, I live where I work, but that's also like the great thing, like I live where I work. So like as soon as I step out that my like door, like I'm kind of like working like the RA, what they say, like the RA like tag like never comes off.
Right.
And so like in all like aspects, like I'll see them in the laundry room and we're like talking, or like late night and I'm like going to the water and like I still see them. So I think that's really what it's about. Like my day to day is like, even when I see them on campus, like I'm still their array. Like they're not thinking like, oh, this is like some person who's going to get me in trouble, because I built such a relationship with my residents. So I think just like knowing that, and then that helps me in like other aspects of my life where I'm always like, oh, like, hey, do you need help with that? Like, oh, what do you mean by that? I feel like I'm always like wanting to know more about people.
Right, for sure. Okay, I like that. So let's say I'm a incoming new RA, right? Or maybe I want to be an RA.
Yeah.
And I want to figure out, like, you talk so much about like connecting and knowing these students. What are some tips that you would give, like somebody who is a first year, you being a seasoned vet?
Yeah.
How would you help lead them to be, the best
Yeah.
RA that they can be?
Definitely being yourself like in this role is amazing, because you won't find your connection like with people if you're like faking it, which I really love. And I think that people sometimes can be scared, like being like stopping someone and be like, hey, like, how are you? But I think that's really what it's about. Like, it's important to go and like meet those people. Like I had one suite, like I never talked to and I felt really bad, but I went up and like knocked on their door and like talked to her about, like, we ended up volunteering at the same place, which I think is really cool. So I think it's really about like putting yourself out there and like being confident. Like, yes, not everyone's gonna like you, but you're gonna find at least one person who like wants to stop and talk to you.
For sure.
And then you'll like talk to them for the rest of the year, or
For
maybe
sure.
even after, like I do now.
Okay. So confidence is key, and like being yourself is key,
Yes.
you would say. How do you get through to, like, you have upperclassmen, right? So how do you get through to maybe a resident who you've been just trying and trying and trying to connect with, but it just hasn't been successful? Like, what tips do you do? What things do you do to help
I
break
think
through?
that sometimes you just need to reassure yourself. Like at the beginning of this year and last year, I was like, not everyone is gonna like me, and that's fine, because I know they'll come to me like when they need me, because I've made such an effort to show my presence in the hall. So I think that's really what it's about. Like they'll come to you, and that did happen. Like they did come and be like, oh, I need help with this one thing. And even though like we don't talk like every day like I do with some of my other residents, that's really cool because they know I'm here, and like those one-off like conversations for help, or like just, hey, like how are you, like in the desk, I think is still really important.
Nice. Okay. Do you want to share like a success story without, like, you don't have to name a resident's name, right? But just one success story from your time of being an RA that maybe you're like most proud of?
My first week as an RA, I had like a situation happen with one of my residents, and I was really worried because I was like, oh, this is like what they trained me for.
Right.
Like I need to like be prepared. And I was worried that like I would be giving her the wrong advice or something, but she really just needed someone like to be there and like navigate her through like the process of like working with certain offices on campus,
Right.
which is really cool because like I had worked with them previously. And she ended up being able to like get an ESA, which is really cool. Shout out Chip. I felt like I had a puppy, but I love her so much. And at the beginning of this year, I was like, oh, hey, how are you and Chip? Like, I miss him, which is really cool because I was thinking like, oh, this would just be like just this year. But it like extends to like now, like I saw an old resident last week at Billy Bob's, which I thought was really funny. And they were like, hey, how are you? Like genuinely interested. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool. Just even like that little hi across campus, like not being ignored. I was like, wow, like I actually like made an impact, which is like tangible, like things that you can see.
For sure. That spreads beyond just being at TCU.
Yeah.
Right. Which is also kind of leads me into, this is, I guess on many campuses, there are student workers and RAs, but I do feel like being an RA here is very different. So I wonder, with your career path, like talk about what you want to do beyond college, but also like how your role as an RA has helped you, prepare for that.
This definitely helps because I want to be an MFT, which is a marriage and family therapist.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're my area, girl.
Which is like talking to people,
right?
So it's really cool that I get to like actually like sit down and have like deep conversations, which I didn't think I would have, but like I feel like I know like so much about certain residents because not only did I take the time, but they took the time to like tell me their story. And I feel kind of cool when they're like, what do you think I should do? And I was like, what do I think you should do? Like, so I feel like it's really applicable because those people skills, like those communication skills really apply. I feel like to all like professions you're going to do, but especially to mine where I'm like trying to get to like the root of the problem or like help you through this like struggle in your life.
Right, for sure. Yeah, shout out to you. That's my area of expertise. I have my degree in counseling, so
that's really
I
cool.
enjoy having these type of conversations and just talking to people, and it does feel good sometimes when people come up to you and ask you for your advice on something. So I'm glad that you're getting some of those tangible skills from the job you're doing now,
Yeah.
And I'm also happy that like you're staying in Hayes and bringing it in for a third year.
I know.
Do you feel like do you feel a sense of responsibility that like on your new staff you'll be like so seasoned that you like need to like help train and like lift your staff up?
Well, it was funny because this year I was the only one who returned to the building. Right. So everyone else like went somewhere else. And I was worried. I was like, all these like new people like won't know what's going on, like, cause I haven't been to this building. But luckily, like my HD was actually here. Ethan was here before.
Yeah.
So he knew the building. So I think with that, it's more like, oh, like how, like where is this in the building? And next year I'm hoping like I can be like, oh, like I always do this for like certain things, like finding those spaces in the community. I'm not so much as worried like I have to like help you like figure out how to navigate certain conversations, even though like sometimes they're like, oh, like I don't know what to do about this resident. But I feel confident, like I'm excited like for the new team to like come into Hayes, because we still have like me and like 2 other RAs are still returning. So it's not like I'm the only one this time.
For sure. Okay. So you're like, I feel it, but like I got a little bit more help. Yeah. All right. This is how I have been ending every single student interview.
Yes.
You're familiar with Riff Ram chant, obviously.
Yeah.
If you don't know the lyrics, I'm about to say I'm gonna put you on the spot. And you have to do it. But what are your favorite? What's out of that chant? What is your favorite 2-word combo?
Bazoo.
Bazoo. Okay. Why because, Bazoo?
I don't know, but when I was, this is kind of hate on me, but when I was little, me and my sister would make fun of my mom, like, for saying the
riff raff?
Yeah, because this, when I was little, like, we called this an angry bunny. I was like, what do you mean? Like, what's a horned frog? Like, that doesn't look like a frog. So me and my little sister would, like, always make fun of my mom for doing that. And, like, now she's like, and you say it too at games, don't you? And I was like, yeah. But I don't know, like, Bazoo is like fun to say. Like, I feel like we always say like riff ram, and like I have a sweatshirt with it, but like Bazoo is like just rolls off the tongue, I feel
Bazoo does roll off the tongue. Bazoo. It does. I kind of like Bazoo. You know what I'm saying? I think Hopper went with lickety lickety. Ryan, he said give him hell.
Yeah.
Now we got a Bazoo, so we're moving through the chant. All right, I'm rocking with Bazoo. Well, thank you so much for giving your insight as a student and as an RA.
Of course,
I think it'd be
so much
supremely
fun.
Helpful. And for anybody who's listening and or watching, if you would like to be an RA, come talk to an RA.
I'd love to yap with you.
Exactly. And if you would like to be on the show, Dorm Diaries at TCU, you can email housing@tcu.edu or reach out to me, Corey.Middleton at tcu.edu. Or hit us up on Instagram or anywhere else that you can find us, because you
Find
can,
the
yeah, you can
podcast.
find the podcast anywhere, on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcast. We would love to sit down with you. That's if you're a TCU student and you live on campus. Caveat.
Caveats.
Anyway, we will see you next episode. Thanks again.
Of course.